We think of medieval meat as greasy, rotten, and barely preserved, with whatever desperate method kept it from spoiling overnight. Peasants salting and hanging meat in dirty chimney corners, creating food that nobody in their right mind would choose to eat today. But what if I told you that medieval smoking methods produced meat that tastes better, lasts longer, and delivers health benefits that modern industrial smoking deliberately removed from the process? The peasants and craftsmen who smoked meat in medieval Europe weren't just preserving food. They were creating flavor profiles and preservation techniques that the modern meat industry erased because slow, traditional methods don't fit factory timelines. In this video, you'll discover 7 medieval smoking methods that were standard practice for centuries, methods the meat industry buried because they can't be scaled, rushed, or controlled by corporate processing plants. And at the end, the real reason traditional smoking disappeared. Number 1. Cold smoking below 90 degrees. Walk into a medieval smokehouse in November and you'd find meat hanging in cool smoke for days, sometimes weeks. Cold smoking generally occurs below 90 degrees Fahrenheit and has more preservative value than hot smoking. Medieval peasants hung their meat high up on the edges of their hearth or fireplace at night. Placing ashes were placed over the embers to extinguish any flames, which produced an ideal smoky environment. The temperature stayed low, the smoke stayed constant, and when meat is cured, then cold smoked, the smoke adds phenols and other chemicals that have an antimicrobial effect on the meat. Modern smoking is almost entirely hot smoking because it's faster. Factories can hot smoke a ham in hours instead of days. But cold smoking is used to preserve food for an extended period of time, and cold smoked meats may be smoked for up to several hours or even days to preserve the meat. Medieval cold smoking created a protein coating on the meat's surface called pellicle. This coating absorbs smoke flavors while acting as a protective barrier during the smoking process. The result was meat that could hang in a cool cellar for months, developing complex flavors modern meat never approaches. For folks who remember when smoked meat actually tasted smoked, cold smoking is the technique that delivers what we're missing. Medieval peasants used this method because they had no choice. We should use it because the flavor and preservation are superior to anything you can buy. Number 2. Beechwood smoking. Travel to medieval Germany, France, or England, and the most common smoking wood wasn't hickory or mesquite. It was beech, providing a beautiful color without overpowering the natural taste of the food. German sausage makers, the most experienced in the world, smoked only with beech, and German sausage became famous worldwide. Beech has a mild, slightly sweet flavor that complements different types of meat. But the real advantage is what beech doesn't do. Beech has a low resin content, which means it produces minimal smoke and creosote, and excessive smoke and creosote can give the meat a bitter taste and create a black, sticky residue. Modern American smoking culture focuses on hickory and mesquite because they deliver intense smoke flavor fast. That intensity masks the quality of the meat and hides processing shortcuts. Medieval European smoking with beech required high-quality meat because the mild smoke enhanced rather than covered the flavor. Beech burns consistently and produces a steady heat, making it an ideal option for long smoking sessions, particularly useful when smoking larger cuts of meat like brisket or pork shoulder that require several hours. If you can taste the difference between real smoke and chemical fakery, beech delivers the clean, balanced smoke that makes you want to eat the meat, not scrape off the outer layer. Number 3. The outdoor fire pit with underground smoke tunnel. If you could visit a well-built medieval smokehouse, you'd notice something strange. The most effective design involved a square tower 2 meters wide and 6 meters high, with the fire pit outside and a trench delivering smoke into the smokehouse. The top part of the tower contained screened openings that provided ventilation and a means for the smoke to escape. By the time smoke travelled through the underground tunnel and rose up the tower, it was cool, clean, and perfect for preservation. This wasn't accidental. Medieval builders understood that hot smoke near the fire cooked meat too fast and created harsh flavours. Cool smoke from a distant fire preserved without cooking, flavoured without bitterness, and allowed meat to hang for weeks while absorbing gentle smoke. Modern smokers put the fire directly under the meat because it's faster and requires less construction. But that heat means you're cooking, not preserving. The smoke is harsh because it hasn't had distance to mellow. In older designs, the fire pit was situated in the central part of the smokehouse, sometimes right on the ground, and the fire was started every morning and left unattended for most of the day. The underground smoke tunnel is the engineering solution that separates real smoking from backyard grilling. Number 4. Extended smoking for 2 weeks followed by aging for 2 years. In medieval tradition, salted meats were hung in a tightly constructed wooden shed where a fire smoulders for 1 to 2 weeks, and the result is dried, long-lasting, smoke-flavoured meat that will age in the same smokehouse for 2 years before it's eaten. 2 weeks of smoking, then 2 years of aging in the same smoky environment. After the meats were smoked for about 2 weeks, they were hung in a different area of the smokehouse where they remained for up to 2 years, receiving constant smoke but with less intensity, with the smokehouse functioning as a storage facility at the same time. It was flavour development that required patience and space. Modern processing plants refuse to provide. Today, commercial smoking takes hours, not weeks. Aging takes days, not years. The meat is rushed to market because storage costs money and time reduces profit. But the fresh cuts are packed in tubs of coarse salt for about 6 weeks while the salt draws most of the water from the flesh. Then the salted meats are hung in a wooden shed where a fire smoulders for 1 to 2 weeks. The 2-week smoke and 2-year age is the time investment that creates what we've been missing. The result is incomparably better than anything sold in stores. Number 5. Apple and cherry wood mixing. In medieval orchards across Europe, pruned branches from apple and cherry trees became smoking fuel. Applewood is mild and sweet, lending a mellow flavour to meat, especially pork and poultry. Cherry splits for smoke are much like apple, both producing a mild smoke. But the genius was mixing them. Blending the mild sweetness of applewood with the subdued smokiness can result in a beautifully balanced flavour profile, where each component complements the other without overpowering it. Apple delivered gentle fruitiness, cherry added depth, and a slightly tart edge, and together they created smoke that enhanced pork and poultry without dominating. Modern smoking often uses single woods chosen for intensity, hickory for power, mesquite for punch. But applewood's light, sweet touch contrasts with cherry's tart, smoky sweet accent, each having distinct personality. Medieval orchardists used what grew on their land and discovered that fruitwood blends delivered complexity that single woods couldn't match. In southern cookouts, applewood often shows up as part of a mix with hickory or oak, and apple-smoked bacon and hams are staples of American tables. If you appreciate subtlety over sledgehammer smoke, apple and cherry mixing is the fruitwood technique that makes meat taste better, not just smokier. Number 6. Alder for fish and juniper for game. Medieval smoking wasn't one wood for everything. Traditional smokewood in Norway would be alder, oak and juniper. Alder delivered mild, delicate smoke perfect for fish. Alder is perfect for delicate foods, producing a pleasant golden colour and a classic aroma known from traditional smokehouses. Juniper, despite being a conifer, was used specifically for game meat and holiday smoking. Although being a needle tree, juniper is very popular for smoking in Norway, especially around Christmas time. Though Norway is full of pine and spruce, smokers never touch those trees. The strategy was matching smoke intensity and character to the meat being preserved. Modern smoking often ignores this principle. Same wood, same temperature, whether you're smoking salmon or venison. But traditional salmon smoking uses a distinctive blend of beech, oak and juniper that steadily unifies with each salmon in the chamber, with only the eye of the master knowing when it is ready. Medieval craftsmen understood that delicate fish needs gentle smoke, while strong game meat can handle assertive flavors. If you ever notice that the smoke overwhelms food instead of complementing it, wood pairing by protein type is the matching strategy that creates balance. Medieval smokers developed this through generations of observation, and we should apply it because matching smoke to meat produces better results than one-size-fits-all approaches. Number 7. The chimney smoking method for small households. Not every medieval household had a dedicated smokehouse. In some European homes, a chimney was a part of the smokehouse, with the simplest chimney design being to climb up on the roof and hang meats on smoke sticks right on top of the chimney, though the serious drawback was that the meat had to accept any kind of smoke that the fire created. A better design attached a small wooden chamber to the kitchen chimney on the second floor. A proper smokehouse was placed on the second floor, with a fire burning in a wood stove on the ground floor in the kitchen, and on the floor above, a smokehouse was attached to the chimney with 2 holes made in the chimney, one for the smoke to enter the chamber and another to allow it to escape. A flat damper controlled whether smoke went straight up or diverted into the smoking chamber. This gave even poor households the ability to smoke and preserve meat using heat they were already generating for cooking. Modern homes have no smoking capability built in. Everything is separated, specialized and external. But the chimney smoking method integrated food preservation into daily life. In England, smoking was often done in smoking closets tucked away inside chimney flues, though since so very little remains of structures above foundation level, it's impossible to know for sure. Every one of these methods was practiced for centuries because they worked. Every one has been abandoned by industrial meat processing because they're slow, require skill, and can't be scaled to factory production. The meat industry didn't erase these methods because they were inferior. They erased them because patience, craftsmanship, and quality don't fit modern profit models. Cold smoking takes days instead of hours. Beechwood produces subtle flavour instead of intense smoke that masks low-quality meat. Underground smoke tunnels require construction skill instead of buying a metal box. 2-year aging ties up inventory instead of turning it over weekly. Fruitwood mixing requires attention instead of dumping one wood type into an industrial smoker. Wood pairing by protein demands knowledge instead of standardized processes. Chimney integration needs thoughtful design instead of assembly line separation. We've traded methods that produced exceptional meat for processes that produce mediocre product fast and cheap. The question isn't whether medieval smoking was better. Anyone who's tasted real traditionally smoked meat knows the answer. The question is whether you're willing to relearn techniques that require time and attention. These 7 methods are the path back to real food. The medieval craftsmen who perfected these techniques didn't have refrigeration, chemical preservatives, or factory shortcuts. They had fire, smoke, time, and the knowledge that good meat can't be rushed. If you're ready to smoke meat the way it should be smoked, if you're tired of factory products that taste like liquid smoke and disappointment, hit that subscribe button. Every week we uncover traditional food methods that actually work instead of modern shortcuts that sacrifice everything for speed. Drop a comment and tell me which of these 7 methods you're ready to try. This isn't just about smoking meat, it's about recognizing that the methods our ancestors used weren't primitive. They were refined over centuries to produce the best possible results. Those techniques are what we should be learning.